and slightly to the right was a huge explosion that I decided not to look at because I don't care, doesn't affect me. So these are Rangers. Woo, Rangers, badass. And I'm deciding I'm just gonna be super careful, throw 1,000 smoke grenades, walk up to that stupid Crusader, finally kill it, and then finally kill that mortar that's to the right of the Crusader. And then I remember I sent SMG dudes over there, and I'm like, oh crap, get out of there, because the tank is driving right at them, and it's just gonna kill them all. But then I realized the tank has no idea what he's doing. I can't understand why he would possibly drive his tank here. So I just started chucking smoke grenades left and right and everywhere, and somehow one of my guys hits it with an AT grenade. I still have not figured out how that tank died, but I'm pretty sure it was an AT grenade from one of my guys, and I don't even know where that came from. And that was my mortar that just shelled me. It was shooting at the opponent's tank crew, so it just killed 3 of my men. But I mistake it for the opponent's mortar, and so this makes me feel very urgent about killing it. So I use my Rangers to provide fire support. My Rangers are firing over those infantry on the left, while my lone submachine gunner sprints towards that mortar and gets behind that rock so that he can kill the mortar. And so I'm like, sweet, finally I'm in range, and I chuck my AT grenade. That's not an it's for fighting tanks, but it kills people really well too. And finally I blow the crap out of that mortar, but it turns out he's long since repositioned it. There's no mortar there. There's just empty sandbags. Which I should have known because it wasn't firing at me, but like I said, I mistook my mortar for his mortar because I wasn't looking in the upper left where we get the death messages. So now I'm feeling pretty good. My allies seem to have a pretty good hold on the left. I've pushed off that stupid tank and whatever mortar that was on the middle, sort of. And so now I decide I'm gonna shore up my hold kind of on this location. I think about repairing that tank, but then I decide, nah, that's too close to the opponent. So I'm just gonna shore up my hold. I'm gonna spread some infantry around here, and now I'm gonna make a big push on the left and try and take out everybody on the left. And I'm out of points too right now, so I'm like, I better just take everything I got and try and take it over. But at this point we have won. I think we pretty much won when we won the fight for the middle, which you can pretty much blame my allies for, or thank my allies for. Oh, he just lost a Pershing. I noticed that, so I went over to look what happened, and just some guy had snuck behind his Pershing. So, Pershing's super heavy tank, and he lost it all to 1 man. That's a very important lesson that you learn pretty quickly in Men of War. Another important lesson you learn pretty quickly is buying a lot of cheap infantry and sticking them in tanks that you've repaired, or sticking them quite across rivers and watching them all die. I feel powerful when I can order my men to their deaths like this, but out of a squad of 6, 2 men survive thanks to the mortar providing covering fire, and they run in and to cap the flag, so they will be getting medals and their friends will be getting letters sent home to their mothers and fathers and brothers. Kinda bad for them, but pretty good for the war effort in general. So now it's Sherman on Sherman action, mano a mano, firing and stuff, and I actually got pretty lucky that I only lost 1 man, 1 Ranger crossing the road to the Sherman. So right now I decide that his Sherman is probably it's up in the air who's going to win that fight, my Sherman or his. So I decided to call it off. But it turns out my Sherman did not get the memo, and it just kept firing, and then it knocked out his Sherman. So that worked out pretty well. I was going to use Rangers instead. I tossed smoke grenades so I could sneak up on that. But now that I don't need to do that, I just move Rangers farther forward, see what I can find, and I decide to take out that tank I just saw. That's a Firefly, so I'm like, oh crap, I start backing up. I'm in direct control right now. Oh, I stopped to take 1 shot, because the Firefly's armor is not so great, but that was a mistake. The Firefly has a gigantic cannon. That'll knock out pretty much any Sherman, so I really shouldn't have done that fight. My plan now is, because I have a ton of money, is just to buy 2 tanks and bum rush him, because I figure a Firefly can own my tanks, but he can't own my heart. Flamethrower infantry. That is, I'm glad he did that, despite me losing an entire Ranger squad to 1 little man, because that illustrates the power of the Flamethrower. The Flamethrower is one of the biggest force multipliers in Men of War. He's very stealthy. If you can creep him forward, you won't have a tough time of it. As long as he hides in bushes and stuff, they probably won't see him. So the Flamethrower man is very stealthy, and 1 burst of his thing will set everybody on fire. He can set bushes and trees on fire so that people can't stay in cover. He can set buildings on fire so that people can't use that as cover, and he can set the engines of tanks on fire, take out the entire tank. That's just ridiculous. So my plan right now for that Sherman Firefly is just to hit it out of nowhere with a shell and take it out before it notices me, because I figure if I get in a fighting match with the Sherman Firefly, I'll lose because it's got a bigger gun. And there's a land mattress firing, actually. Impressive stuff, huh? Right next to the Firefly even, so it's a one-stop shop for stuff I need to kill. So right now my plan is just buy the Jumbo Sherman, whose gun I figure is big enough, and just shell the crap out of the Firefly until it dies. That's what I'm working on. I'm kind of worried that he's going to shoot me, but then at this point I realize, hey, I have another tank, so what I'm just going to do, I don't care if my Jumbo Sherman dies, he's going to distract the Firefly while this other Sherman goes around the side. I'm going to nail the land mattress first. That's that shot. Kaboom. Kills one of the men. And then the other shot is going to be an AP shell to kill the side of this Firefly. But I get stuck on a rock, and my Sherman dies. Meanwhile, my Jumbo Sherman, who's supposed to be doing the distracting, is just sitting there. So, really, I do what I should have done in the first place. Never fight a Firefly with tanks. Just buy an AT gun and shoot at it with that. Kaboom. Of course, that bounces off, so there's that. But, hitting tanks, basically you get them from the side, so I buy an M18 Hellcat because I'm nothing if not persistent. I'm going to kill his Firefly. You have three options. The first option is ambush them with some sort of infantry. That's probably the best option because infantry are so cheap and effective. Second option is just blow through them with something powerful enough to blow through them. The best option for that is an AT gun, because of course if you end up losing, then you just lose the AT gun. Whereas if you get into a tank-on-tank fight from the front and you lose, then you just lost your tank, and it's like, oh, that sucks. Like, for example, what just happened to me. So if you're going to try and blow through them with sheer power, just pretty much use an AT gun. And your third option is to flank them. You hit them in the side or the rear where their armor is weak, and for that you can definitely use a tank, because of course getting an AT gun to the side or the rear of an enemy tank is very difficult. I'm actually going for option 1 right now. You sneak up on him and use an AT grenade or something from an infantry. But of course then my ally drives up with his jeep to blow the crap out of the tank, and then before either of us can do it, the third guy shoots from across the map with his T-29 heavy tank, takes out the Sherman Firefly. Everyone's like, what the fuck? Where did that come from? And it's just, surprise, nothing you did had anything to matter. All I needed to do was drive my crazy tank up and shoot. T-29 I think should be taken out of the game. That was only introduced late 1940s, early 1950s. That was not in World War II, but they gave it to the United States because we needed a super tank. That was silly. So anyways, I was going to try, you saw me try plan 1 right there, that was aborted, but I was also going to do plan 3, get behind the tank. And then it doesn't matter if you can use a tank or a tank destroyer to get to the side of a tank. And look, the game is over. Killed lots of people.